Hello everyone, here is a quick video about functions. Let's start with the function notation, which is y equals f of x. Sometimes you see it as h of x, g of x, anything of x. That is the notation of the function. The function has an input and it has an output. So the x values are what's considered to be the input, and the y values are what's considered to be the output. A real life example would be you input 8 hours of work and you get out the paycheck. So the time you put in would be the x values, and the paycheck you get would be the output. So you have an input and you have an output. The x values are also independent, which means the output would be dependent. It's independent how many hours you work. So instead of 8 hours, you can choose to work just 3 hours and say, all right, I'm done. Now your paycheck would depend based on the number of hours you put in. So the x is independent and the y is dependent. The paycheck depends on how many hours you work. And then another name for the x values are what's called domain. And the y values are called range. Okay? Now, for it to be independent, the each x value must give you a unique value of y. So you cannot have the same x value giving you different y values. Okay? You cannot have different y values giving you the same x values. Basically, if I draw a quick graph here, and let's say I have this type of graph. Now let's say this point right here, let's say this is 2. Here you have a y value, let's say at this point, of let's say -3, and let's say that point, let's say that is 2 or something. As you see, both of these share what? The same x values. So this cannot be what's called a function. Okay, so it has to be a different x value. Now let me give you an example of how it looks like, the way it's written. So when you have y equals f of x, so this is how it's written. So you have f of x equals, let's say, 2x plus 3. This is an example of a linear function because the x has an exponent of 1. So another example that's a nonlinear function would be, let's say, if you had x squared plus 4 or something. This is, again, it's a function, but it's a nonlinear because the exponent is different. Another example of a function would be if you had square root of, let's say, 2x plus 1. Again, this is a function, but it's a nonlinear function. Okay? And another thing that you have to understand, sometimes you will be evaluating for something, kind of like the 3 hours we talked about that you worked, you evaluate it to get what the dependent is. So what you will be getting the output. So let's do some examples of each. Let's say x equals 2. If we have to evaluate for the first function, you would get f of 2 equals 2 times 2 plus 3, which gives you 4 plus 3, which equals 7. Okay, let's evaluate the same 2 for the second function. So that would be f of 2 equals, the second function was, let's say this is number 1, let's say that's 2, let's say that's 3. So if we substitute for the second one, that would be 2 squared plus 4. This would give you 2 squared is 4, and then plus 4, that would give you 8. Let's evaluate the same x for the third one. So you will get f of 2 equals square root of 2 times 2 plus 1, which gives you square root of 4 plus 1, which gives you square root of 5. This is how you evaluate functions. Sometimes you will evaluate for a variable, let's say x equals k. So this would be if we try it for the first one, it would be f of k equals 2 times k plus 3, which equals 2k plus 3. If we evaluate for the second one, that would be f of k equals k squared plus 4, sorry about that, which gives you k squared plus 4. And if we do it for the third one, this would be f of k equals square root of 2k plus 1, which gives you square root of 2k plus 1. And as you noticed, each time I'm evaluating, I'm replacing the x with a parentheses, because that's essential. Sometimes the value you evaluate, if it's negative and you don't put in the parentheses, you might miss the sign and get a different result. So make sure each time you're evaluating that you substitute the variable you're replacing with a parentheses, and then after that you substitute the value that you need. That's it. Thank you.